You've got a lot. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Spirit Speaker KC podcast. I am psychic medium Jamie, and I'm so excited for tonight's episode with the Christi Clemons Hoffman. Whenever I say your name, it feels like, I don't know, you're in the mob or something. I don't know. It just has,
long name.
It is a long. Maybe it belongs in Hollywood. But I've known Christi for some time, and she's recently had a new book come out. So I thought I'd have her on because it's really one of those topics that really intrigued me about real life angel encounters. So I love hearing about those. But Christi has a really broad background, lots going on. So I just want to read a little bit of her bio, y'all, so you can know a little bit about her. Christi is the host of 2 acclaimed podcasts. She doesn't have enough on her plate. She has 2. The award-winning Real Life Angel Encounters and the Radiate Wellness podcast, through heartfelt conversations with authors, thought leaders, and inspirational guests, including luminaries like Dr. Raymond Moody, Whitley Strieber, Dr. Eben Alexander, Sheila and Marcus Gillette. Christi reaches a global audience hungry for meaning, healing, and connection. A lifelong intuitive and level 3 QHHT practitioner, Christi is also a seasoned channel, a Reiki master, spiritual coach, teacher, and what else can we throw on the plate? I don't know. Her mission is to guide others in discovering the truth of who they are and the power they carry within. Christi, I'm so excited to have you on here. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
I'm sorry my bio is so long. It does thing.
Are 24 hours in a day enough for you? I'm like, yeah. Not a leap year. You need a leap day.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. I'd really like to start out because you have done so much. I'm always curious kind of how people began their spiritual journey. Were they always this way? Was it something that came on later in life? Tell me a little bit about little Christi, young Christi, your childhood. What was it like? Did you have any kind of mystical experiences, or would it be what you called normal? Tell me a little bit about your childhood.
So I grew up in the suburbs of Kansas City, and in Overland Park, Johnson County, if anybody knows that. So kind of white bread, kind of conservative, And I was the kid who was fascinated with ghosts, the kid who was fascinated with UFOs. I grew up seeing ghosts. I mean, not all that many, but enough to know that that's something that was happening. I knew things, so I just knew things, and I didn't know how I knew it. And I didn't have anybody to talk to about it growing up in white bread, conservative Overland Park, Kansas. Yeah. So I didn't know that was anything special. I just thought it was something that made me weird. In fact, that's how the kids treated me. It's like a girl who believes in, like UFOs and Bigfoot and stuff like that.
Right.
But when I was about 13, I'd say I was in middle school. My mom took me to the Shawnee Mission Unitarian Society, which you may know. I was raised kind of Unitarian, kind of unity, which are 2 different things.
Okay.
The Unitarian Church, and the minister was doing a series on world religions, and he was talking about Zen Buddhism and the karmic cycle of rebirth.
Okay.
reincarnation. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is the truth. This makes a lot of sense. Why didn't anybody ever tell me about this? Because my grandparents really wanted me to be Christian. I didn't understand Christianity. It made no sense to me, but this did. So I really started reading a lot more and getting very involved in kind of the spiritual matters. But again, I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know that was anything special. And then fast forward as an adult, I was going through a very dark night of the soul and was looking for meaning. Started Googling soulmate. It was the end of my marriage. So started Googling soulmates, karma, soul family, that kind of thing, and ended up with Dolores Cannon because all roads lead to Dolores Cannon.
Absolutely.
So I found out about Dolores Cannon and this method of hypnosis that she uses, and I thought that's what I need to do. That'll give me a lot of answers. That'll give me some insight and solve my problems. And so I called up her office in Arkansas. I thought, in Arkansas, I could have my mom watch my kid for the weekend. I go down and back, right?
Right.
It all planned out in my mind. So I called the office for Dolores Cannon, and they said, yeah, well, she's booked up for the next 4 years. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know she was Dolores Cannon. Okay.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm kind of hoping to get in before then. I've got problems now, folks. So they recommended that I see someone in town because Dolores had just started to teach people how to use her method. And they said, well, maybe you can find somebody around you. And I did, but I didn't go very far with it. I did not succeed in having a session. Well, I'm a bit of a control enthusiast, Jamie, if you didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Oh, shoot. Well, you do now. And this practitioner, this psychologist that I had seen who actually practiced QHHT, he was not doing it the way that she was teaching how to do it. I didn't know at the time. But anyway, I got nowhere with it. And Fowler Jones, if you happen to know who this is, he's passed since then. And I'm sure he was a wonderful practitioner, but it just didn't work for me. And he said, well, this doesn't happen very often, but if it does, then I refer people to somebody. He referred me to Gail Larmer. Do you know her?
No.
Stillwell. She's fantastic. She's another, I don't know that she's necessarily a medium, but she's an angel communicator. And she gave me a wonderful reading. It answered so many questions, and I sent many of my friends to her, and they had wonderful experiences too. She started teaching her methods of communication with angels and all of our guides. And so I learned to harness what I was doing naturally, what I'd been doing all my life. I learned how to name. I learned how to use it. I learned what it was for. I learned how to do it. Yeah, it was wonderful. And then I started practicing. I started seeing people doing readings. So I was doing readings for a few years, and then I was meeting, this was like 2010. And then I was meeting people in this kind of spiritual space. I was meeting people like Susan Warner, you may know, Reiki teacher, Susan Walter. I was meeting all kinds of folks, Quan Cherry, meeting all kinds of people in this, kind of metaphysical sphere, the space, and learning about energy healing. I had never heard of energy healing. I didn't know what a chakra was. And so I thought, you know what, that's probably something I should learn how to do or learn about. Right. So I studied with Emily Foster for Reiki 1 and 2. And I was doing Reiki on people here in town, but also at a distance. And about that time, let's see, I've been doing that for a couple of years, and then I went to Susan. Oh, no, then I got laid off from Hallmark. I was a Hallmark employee, big corporate headquarters. I was an editor.
Okay.
Right. So I'd been an editor, and then I got laid off with 1,500 other people because they do these mass layoffs at Hallmark. And they said that they would offer me entrepreneurship classes as part of the severance package. By then, this was 2015. By then, I knew I didn't want to be corporate anymore. The corporate job was killing me. I
Okay.
knew that I wanted to start a wellness collaborative, and I wanted to have a variety of practices under that roof. Now, I didn't have the capital to buy a building or to rent a building or to, rehab a building. So
Uh-huh.
I started Radiate Wellness as a virtual practice.
Oh,
Create
okay.
a site like our office. You can make an appointment there. You can get information on all of our services. You can do pretty much anything that you would do in an office on their website. So that's what I
Mm.
started. And then actually by then, no, after that, then I got my Reiki Master with Susan Warner.
Mm-hmm.
Reiki 3 and Reiki Master with Susan Warner. And the same week that I actually launched the website, I took a week off and went down to Eureka Springs to take the QHHT Level 1 class. It was
Ah.
probably seen by many as a big mistake to be out of town the week that your business launches, but I don't know how a calendar works, Jamie.
That's okay. Hey, you were feeling driven to it.
Absolutely. So yeah, I started my QHHT journey the same week that I started Radiate Wellness, radiatewellnesscommunity.com. It's there on the screen.
Yeah.
And fast forward, and here we are.
What's QHHT for our listeners who've never heard of it?
Oh, good question, Jamie. I always forget about that. QHHT is Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. That is the hypnosis technique that was developed by Dolores Cannon. She was a hypnotherapist from, oh my gosh, the 60s, and her
Yeah.
career spanned decades and decades. I remember, Jamie, you did a reading for me one time, and she came through for me.
No way.
She did. You said, there's some mentor teacher here. And I said, oh my God, that's Dolores.
Did you ever get the opportunity to meet Dolores in person? I know you called her office and she was booked for 4 years. Did you ever get to meet her in person?
Sadly, no. I have
Okay.
so few regrets in life, and that is one of them.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
She's I think everyone who kind of starts a spiritual journey awakening, I don't know, Dolores is quite well known. I love reading her stuff even though I don't do anything with QHHT. She's fascinating to me.
Oh my gosh, she was so amazing. There's no one like Dolores anymore.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. So
Yeah.
when I want to go just back just for a minute. So you've kind of seen ghosts off and on periodically, not that often. Were your folks aware of your love of the UFOs, the Bigfoot, the seeing ghosts? Were they supportive in that?
They were supportive in the way that they could be. I mean, they're
Mm.
like, ooh, that's spooky. Ooh, that's cool. But, they were never really encouraging of it
Ah,
or wanting me to develop. I mean, I don't think they knew. They didn't know either.
yeah.
They just thought it was kind of interesting.
Okay. Did you have any siblings that had that you could talk to about that or had any of the same experiences that you had?
Um, no, but interestingly enough, my brother, my full brother, we have both of the same parents. He turned out to be a ghost hunter.
Ah, okay.
So now he hasn't done it for a while, but for several years, he was really into ghost hunting. He had all the equipment. He'd
Oh,
travel,
wow.
do investigations and things like that. But
Okay.
other than that, not really. And he's also more interested in the demonic side of it.
Oh,
That
wow.
sees, a lot of negative, but he had some bad experiences with the Ouija board.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Makes
you know,
sense.
it makes
Yeah.
sense. So I tend more toward the positive, toward the light, and he's more investigating the darkness, right? Or
Okay.
had been. He
Yeah.
stopped for a while to raise a family. Now, my sister, interestingly enough, has come into this interest Fairly recently. My sister lives in Sandpoint, Idaho, and she goes to this mystic shop where she learned about this guy who speaks at a mystic shop. He had had a near-death experience.
Mm.
I don't remember his last name. This is terrible. Um, but he had had a near-death experience, and afterward, he started telling his story. And so he has these regular gatherings where he talks about the afterlife, and he talks about all of these spiritual principles that he learned in the afterlife.
Wow.
And my sister started going to his talks, and she texted me. She goes, "Chris, you got to get in touch with this guy."
Huh.
And so he has been on the Real Life Angel Encounters podcast. Jonathan Ashford.
Okay.
So you
Okay.
on the Real Life Angel Encounters podcast. He's a beautiful speaker. His life had completely changed after his near-death experience. His personality, his interests, everything had changed after that.
Oh, wow. Wow. Now, going to your QHHT,
Mhm.
tell our viewers, our listeners, why would someone seek out a session? Because I've always been curious about it too. But why would someone seek out a session with QHHT? What are some of the benefits of that?
There are so many reasons, Jamie, so many reasons. One big reason is people want to know more about who and what they truly are. Because in a quantum healing hypnosis technique session, you get to speak directly to your higher self. Actually, your higher self speaks through you. So
Mm.
you're actually channeling what some would call your soul, your higher self, your
Okay.
inner being. So that's one reason. They want to find out where they've been in their various incarnations, maybe where their soul originated, maybe
Okay.
whether they've got connections to other planets or other dimensions. So another reason is people are curious about what other lifetimes they've had. Part of
Yeah.
a typical session is we go to whatever lifetime or lifetimes have some relevance in the current existence, right?
Oh,
Maybe we
wow.
cured something. Maybe we've got unfinished business. Maybe we had some sort of injury or illness in another life that has stayed with us to the present,
Okay. Oh,
right?
wow.
So,
Okay.
huh, relationship patterns, trauma will carry
Can,
these things with us sometimes. Mhm.
can you get that? Is this something that you have to do in more than one session? Can
Mhm.
somebody benefit from one session?
Yes, yes.
How long is a session?
Between 4 and 6 hours.
What? Oh,
Mhm.
wow. Oh, wow. Okay.
Now,
Okay.
the most of that 4 to 6 hours is spent in talking about the client's life to understand what is behind the questions that they bring, because we can bring 10 to 15 questions to ask your higher self. So people
Jeez.
spend a lot of time asking questions. People ask things like, what is my purpose? What are
Yeah.
my biggest lessons in this life? What am I
Oh,
missing? What should I
wow.
be doing that I'm not doing? Where should I live? That's a common question. Uh,
Really?
mhm.
Okay.
uh,
Wow.
what past lives are affecting me? How can I understand my mother, father, spouse, brother, sister better? How can I have better relationships? How can I help my kids? How can I help my spouse? I mean, so many different questions that people bring. It's fascinating.
Oh my. Wow, I didn't
Some,
realize a session was that long. What if someone can't be hypnotized? I know you've probably given hundreds or thousands of sessions. What's the percentage of people that fake it, or can you tell if they're faking it, or can't be hypnotized? Does that happen very often?
okay, how much time we got, Jamie?
Let me go get a margarita. Tell you, take your time. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, I love it when people come in and go, I don't think I can be hypnotized. Well, first of all, get that idea out of your head, because it'll block you. But here's the
Yeah.
truth. The thing is that we're hypnotized every day. We're in and out of hypnosis all the time. The common misconception is that hypnosis means that you're completely offline. That is not true.
Mm.
A lot of people think that hypnosis means that you have no memory of what happens. That is not true. It's an altered state of consciousness. The state of consciousness that we're in right now is the beta. We're
Okay.
walking, we're talking, we're conscious, we're aware, right? We bring that.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Alpha state of consciousness is a light level of hypnosis. We'll get into the alpha state in and out all day long. If you've ever driven somewhere and you don't remember the drive,
Yeah.
you were hypnotized. You were engrossed in your spreadsheet and you lost track of time, or you didn't notice that there were people talking about something behind you. That was hypnosis. You were in an alpha state of consciousness. It's an altered state. We
Okay.
tend to work with people with QHHT on what's called the theta state of consciousness. Again, we're in this state of consciousness each and every day, right before we go to sleep and right
Mm.
when we wake up and we're not completely coherent yet, right before our
Yes.
coffee.
Right.
So we're in this state. Now, Dolores, when she was doing her work, people were slipping into deeper and deeper and deeper states of that theta. And
Mm-hmm.
she called it the somnambulistic, which wasn't quite accurate. Somnambulism is sleepwalking.
Ah.
Really referring to in somnambulistic clients were people who really lived as that other past life. They really inhabited that lifetime. But since then, in the 40 years since, we are more conscious as beings. We're more conscious. We're more aware. So we're also more aware in the sessions. Yes, we go to a deep level of altered consciousness, but we're still aware. And I recently found out that this is because as we move into higher dimensions as a planet, our
Uh-huh.
DNA is actually changing. And so our DNA is coming together, and that is making people more aware, even in deep meditation. We're
Oh,
just moving
wow.
naturally because we are raising our consciousness. So in a session, it's not amnesia and it's not anesthesia. You're free
Okay.
to move your body if you need to be more comfortable. Although most people are so relaxed
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you just don't feel like they can move, but they just don't want to. And then people will have some awareness of the session. And I see it as a spectrum. On one
Uh-huh.
end, you're very unaware of what's going on. And the other end, you're quite aware of what's going on. Now, I've done over 600 sessions, and I've only had 3 people who didn't remember anything from their session.
Wow.
Most
Okay.
people, over 600 of my clients, do remember something. Only 3 did not remember anything.
Why do you think that was? That they didn't remember anything?
Because I think that some people are more naturally susceptible to slipping into a deeper state of trance.
Ah,
So
okay.
some people are naturally better at doing that. So,
Ah.
and doesn't mean that they're not aware. It just means that for whatever reason, they're able to really, really relax, even let their mind completely relax. Now, another question you had, Jamie, that I thought was very interesting and something that a lot of people ask about is faking it, making it up. So they'll come out of the session and they have a fantastic session. We might have seen another lifetime that had just direct relevance on their life. They'll feel the feelings of fear. They'll feel the feelings of sadness in that lifetime. They'll move through the complete lifetime and unravel and reveal this story, this complete story, complete with emotion.
Uh-huh.
Shift over and we'll talk to their higher self, and
Okay.
their voice will change. They will receive answers. They'll get healing for your body because we can have physical healing in these sessions. They'll
Oh,
receive physical healing. They'll come out of the session. They'll be relieved of their pain, their rash, their whatever.
right,
They'll
right.
still say, I think I made it all up.
Denial. They're in denial.
Nile, and it's not just a river in Egypt. And I'll say, really? Really? Do you think you could have made it up about being the daughter of a Native American who is chased from their village because of jealousy. You really think you could have made that up on the spot with the emotion? And do you really
Wow.
made up losing your shoulder pain? If you did,
Wow.
that's great. That's awesome. That's wonderful. I'm glad, because you had a wonderful session and you learned a lot and you received some healing. But really, people think that they've made it up because, well, first of all, it just seems so out of our usual
Yeah.
life, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so external to what we're doing. But also because what we're doing in these sessions is we're really pushing our consciousness into the right hemisphere of the brain. Or if I should
Mm,
more specifically say our unconscious into the right hemisphere of the brain. The
right.
left hemisphere of the brain that is logical, that keeps track of things, that says, "Oh no,
Right.
I'm making it up."
Yeah.
That side of the mind, we really want to push to the side. We want to focus on the right hemisphere of the brain. Our memories are stored there, even past life memories, and all of images and symbols in our database are
Right.
are there as well. So that's where we want to be. Guess what? This is also the side of the brain where we invent things. Our imagination lives there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And when we're revealing all of these things, unveiling all this information, it comes from the place where our imagination lives. So yeah, it feels a little like imagination.
That's really cool. I'm gonna have to get a session done and have you back on, and we'll discuss what to come through. That might be
That
interesting,
would
unless
be
it's
fun.
yeah. I'm a stripper or something like that. That might be
Oh,
not. Yeah, but it might get viewers. I don't know. That's cool. I really do want to try that. I think that would be
you'd have a
what
great session.
what just before we move on, is there one session of QHHT that stands out to you, that no matter what, you always remember this one particular you don't have to, of course, give privacy details, but
Right.
just one story off the top of your head that's really like blew you away?
As a matter of fact, it's in Real Life Angel Encounters. People share real stories of miraculous encounters. My book.
Oh, okay. Okay. We're going to talk about that next. We're going to talk about that next.
But I think this is a perfect segue, Jamie, because there is a story in this that comes from a QHHT session.
Wow.
And I put this story on the Real Life Angel Encounters in the first season. And when I was coming out with the book, I knew that I wanted to feature it in the book as well. And it's about a QHHT session with a client who went to another lifetime. She was a guardian angel for someone.
What?
I had never heard of this before.
Out of all the sessions, over 600 sessions you've done, you had never heard of anyone say they were a guardian angel in another life.
Right.
Oh my gosh. We have to hear it. I don't know how long it is, or can you give us the cliff notes, or do you want to read it?
Yeah, I will give you the cliff notes because
Okay.
there's the whole conversation. Well, most of the conversation in here. So what happens is, okay, so in a typical session, now, not all sessions are typical sessions, but the way that we're taught, we do the induction and we land into a specific lifetime, whatever's
Okay.
the most appropriate. Our higher self
Okay.
knows what's the most appropriate. They're going to guide us to one that is most appropriate. So
Okay.
down on the most appropriate lifetime, we look around. I ask the client, okay, tell me about your surroundings. What's around you? Tell me about it. And then I'll ask, well, what else is going on? Is there anybody else with you? What's happening? Try to get a baseline. Where are
Right.
you? Who are you? What are you doing there?
Gotcha.
Then we like to go to where the client, where this person lived in that lifetime. So we see where their home. And then we want to see where they eat, because we find out some socioeconomic things, like who they eat.
Okay.
Is their food rich or is it simple? We find out some things, and also maybe like what period of time and maybe like what part of the world. So we'll find out
Okay.
information. Then we want to
Okay.
see what their occupation is, how they spend most of their time. Then we see 3 important days, just random days from their lifetime that they feel that are important. And then we go to the last day, because we learn so much from how we exit a lifetime.
Absolutely.
How we're taught. Now, this breaks all the mold.
Okay.
Because
Whoa.
this person came down and started off seeing some sort of crater, like a volcanic crater, some sort of crater. And used to be a volcano, and there's greenery around it. So somewhere in the jungle, somewhere in a lush part of the world. We zoom in, find out there's a boy sleeping in this crater. He's badly burned, very badly burned. And
Okay.
I'm not sure at this point, is that this person in another lifetime? Not sure what's going on. So
Okay.
just start asking some questions. We move forward a little bit to find out more information about this boy. Again, this is not a typical session, but
Okay.
and we move through this boy's life, because sometimes we'll see someone in these sessions and it's like you're looking at your past life like a movie. You're
Okay.
following the person, and
Yes.
that's you in another lifetime, but you're outside of it, if that makes any sense.
Uh-huh. Yes, it does. It
Like you're
does.
watching a character, but it's you.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
thought, well, is this woman, is this another lifetime for her, this boy, badly burned boy? But no, he had tribal tattoos on his body. So she made a note of that. And he just seemed sad. And he was just curled up, very badly injured, and was sad. And she's floating above him. So I still don't know what's going on here. She's floating above him,
Wow.
right? And so I asked if she felt connected to him. She says, I think so. I think I feel connected to him. I used to live here at some point, but that was a long, long time ago. And then I asked if she had a physical form. No, she had a light body. So she's watching
Whoa.
this boy as a light body. She felt connected to the land, connected to this boy somehow. We're still figuring out what she is,
Right.
what's going on.
Gotcha.
So she says, my light body is white and my chakra colors run down the center. So she's a light being. And she says she wants to help this boy, but she doesn't know how. So we move forward. He's in a hospital room. Somehow he managed to get to a hospital, and she's there with him. She's healing him. And I asked if anybody could see her. And she said, the boy does, but he doesn't know what I'm doing. And he's a little frightened because he doesn't know what's happening. But he can see that I'm healing his body. She healed
Wow.
his body of the burns. And she's described a doctor being there. And this doctor was fascinated with this case, and he wanted to become famous because he thought he was healing this boy, and so rapidly and thoroughly.
Uh,
Trust him. And the boy didn't trust him. So that was interesting. So so he's in the hospital. Then we move forward to him. Okay, so actually in the hospital, she says he's going to be okay. And I want to tell him he's going to be okay. He can't hear me, but I just let him know that he's going to be okay. And
wow.
I said, how do you know this? Because I see him walking again. He's just calm. And she says that the boy can feel her energy and he can pick up on her form. And she just wants to tell the boy that he's okay and he's not broken. And I asked, how did you come to find him? She said, I felt him in my mind.
Oh,
So,
wow.
do you have any connection to him? I think I'm just his guardian. I feel sadness for him. And I just feel like I'm meant to help him. I want to touch him. I want to help heal his body. And she says, I put my hands on him and my energy goes through his physical form and he's afraid because he doesn't know what's going on.
Right.
So we move forward and there's he's much better. He's a little bit older and he's in a home with a little girl who seems connected to him, and an elderly lady who also seems to be connected to him. So he found his way to maybe family or some sort of foster situation. And he's
Okay.
very happy and he's healed, he's good, and he's playing with the little girl. Everyone has black hair and they live in a home that feels like Central America, maybe South America. So we've
Oh,
got
wow.
the location.
Right.
Right. So this little girl who's connected to him is maybe his sister or his cousin, so he found his way to family, some type of
Mhm.
family member, and then an older woman who takes care of them. And then I asked if she works with any other types of beings besides humans, and she said yes, it's unlimited. She can work with many of them, but she's attached to this boy.
Wow.
And then I asked how she knows how to do all of this. Where does she train? So he guides me to this place like a castle. And in this place, she says, the people here are like fairies and elves and different types of beings, and there's a lot of moss. It's very old, very ancient. We do the same thing. I'm assigned to a specific being, and I follow them. And I heal them and protect them and guide them.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She goes on to say, with these beings, their level of intelligence varies. Like some of them are aware of the spirit world and what I'm here to do, and I can communicate with them directly. But sometimes humans don't know that I'm with them. It's usually helpful for children to know. Okay, so it helps them cope with their trauma. Anyway, she says there's her and others like her there, and there are teachers, and then there's a headmaster. Fascinating stuff. I didn't know
Yes.
that. It was so interesting. So, and I asked her, I said, would you want to have a different job? And she says, wherever I'm meant to go next. And so I asked her how she felt about this work. She said, it's just a job. And I thought,
Wow.
really, that's interesting. I
Yeah,
thought she would be more invested, but
exactly. Yes. Maybe guardian angels are like us, they get a job and like, hey, it's okay.
yeah, I'm doing my
It's a good gig if you can get it for right now. Yeah. Wow.
This is so interesting. So then come to find out that yeah, I asked why this soul chose the particular body that she's in the current lifetime.
Right.
Right? So
Yeah.
okay, you can be a guardian angel. Why do you want to come back and be human? Why?
Right.
Right?
Okay.
Right? Why'd you choose this personality, this particular being? The higher self that they were at said that they were asked to come to this lineage, the client's lineage, because the lineage needed healing.
Oh.
The client came in as human form to heal her physical lineage.
Wow.
And one of the client's biggest challenges has been in learning to deal with emotions while in a physical form. The higher self also said that it was helping the client with regaining her comfortability with solitude because she's been afraid to be alone. And that
Huh.
it needed to be comfortable with solitude because she is all that is.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then I asked the higher self how learning to be around people without taking their energy helps with everything, and how the higher self was helping her. And the higher self said, I really don't do much. She's doing most of the work. So the higher
Oh,
self was there to guide her.
interesting.
Yeah, it was just fascinating and educational. So interesting. And here's what's interesting too, is that on the second season of real life angel encounters that started this year, there was another story that came from a QHHT session from another practitioner.
Okay.
That client shared her story of being an angel in another lifetime.
Oh. Oh.
It was possible.
Oh, I've got to listen to that podcast because
Yeah.
I love those things about angels or these helpers, let's call it these spirit helpers that we know they're around, but in our everyday life, maybe we don't always feel them or sense them. And why do you think we don't? Why do you think they're so incognito, so quiet? Or can we get more in tune where we can sense our spirit helpers more?
Jamie, I am on a mission of world domination.
Good.
My mission of world domination is twofold. One, we need to know we are never alone.
Absolutely.
Two, we need to know that we're more than we think we are. So, to answer your question, we are never alone. We are constantly surrounded by our guides and our angels and our loved ones. If we don't recognize that, because we may be blocking it, it is the understanding we are more than we think we are. All of us, every one of us, has the ability to tap into our guides and tap into our higher self. Yes, you can do it in a QHHT session, but just like we teach a man to fish, QHHT is teaching the client how it feels to connect with the higher self so they can do it, right? That's typically a once in a lifetime thing. Now, sometimes people come back and want to do it again, but once we know how to connect with that bigger part of us and how to connect with our team, then we're off to the races, right?
Wow.
But we all have this ability. We're all born with it, just like we're all born with the ability to sing. Some of us naturally sing better than others. Some of us can take a voice that's not really very good and we can make it better. Just like intuitive abilities. We're all born with this intuitive ability. Some of us are naturally gifted with more of it than others.
Yeah.
Some of us can develop it and harness it and grow it. But we all have this ability.
That's really fascinating about QHHT, and I really do. I want to take a session. I don't know if you've ever heard of a gentleman, and he had a short-lived television show, and his name was Damian Bertrand, Bertrand, I believe.
No.
And he would put people under. I don't know if he was technically QHHT, but he was like a past life regressionist, and he had maybe 4 or 6 episodes, and he would put people under. But then what he did is the information that the client gave while they were under, his staff, his team researched it. So then they would find out that if I were under, and I found out that I was a surfer in California in the 1950s in a town, some town, he would actually do the research and find that there was someone in that California town who was a surfer in the 50s. So he would validate what the client had said. And it was fascinating. I can't think of the name of Damian's show, but he had this show that he would go back and validate that. So I think it's great what you do with QHHT. So for those people out there that want to know how to connect more with their angels, their guides, what are some of the suggestions that you have? How do you connect with your team?
Well, I'll tell you, it helps to have a quiet mind. And so having some sort of meditation practice or mindfulness practice can really help just to have that clarity of mind. Because when we keep our minds so busy, it's hard for our team to get a word in edgewise. So many times, like when we're like in the shower, oh my God, shower thoughts. That's probably messages from your guides when things are coming through and you're getting these brilliant ideas, or when you're on a long drive and you kind of zone out a little bit. Not that I recommend it, but we all do. Right. So your mind is clear. You're doing the dishes, you're mowing the grass, whatever it is. Then that just allows our guides to work with us more. Another thing is to understand how we receive our intuition. There are 4 clairs, as you know. We can be clairvoyant, where we have the gift of sight, and that's our intuition comes through sight. We can have our intuition come through audience, or which is the hearing. We can be clairsentient, which is our intuition coming through the physical senses. And then we can be claircognizant, where our intuition comes through thoughts and downloads. So just kind of understanding how you tend to receive your intuition can help
Yeah.
a lot. So a real simple down and dirty. Now I teach people how to connect. So, this is the nickel tour, but a simple way to find this out is like, do I tend to say things like, I see what you're saying, or I see what you mean? You might be more clairvoyant. Do you say things like, oh, I hear you, or I hear what you're saying? You might be more clairvoyant. Do you tend to say, ooh, I've got a bad feeling about this, or I feel you, sister? Might be more clairsentient. And then if you say things like, I know what you mean, or ooh, I think I just got a download, you might be more claircognizant. So knowing the way that you typically receive is really helpful, because you can recognize, ooh, I'm seeing something and it's answering a question, for example. So clairvoyance can be you see things in your mind's eye. That's what everybody knows. But it can also be that your intuition is coming to you through visual means. So you might drive down the highway every day on your way to work, and then all of a sudden, one day there's this billboard that answers a question for you, right? You've been thinking about something, and then there's, well, I never noticed that. Now I noticed it. You're seeing it.
Right.
With their audience, it could be that you're thinking of your deceased father, and you turn on the stereo in your car, and here's his favorite song. You were just thinking about him. So that's right. Clairaudience can also be that you're hearing voices in your head.
Right.
Or you hear somebody call your name.
Yeah.
It's like anything having to do with hearing. The clairsentience piece of it, it can be the goosebumps in your stomach, or the like the butterflies in your stomach. It can be the goosebumps in your arm. It can be smelling. So, like my grandmother shows up and she smells like lilacs. So she always loves lilac, air freshener and whatever.
Right.
The cognitive part, yes, it's the downloads, but it's a sudden idea that just pops in your head out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So it's like, expand your realization of what intuitive abilities are. Everyone thinks that, oh, the clairvoyance is I see something in my mind. And it's not necessarily that. It's like things come to you, synchronicities and answers, through visual means.
Yep.
How do you receive? I've always wanted to know, Jamie.
I don't know, because sometimes I think I don't receive at all. I think they're just, but I find that it's in those moments that I'm not trying to, if that makes sense.
It does.
It just drops in or pops in. I try not to get in my head too much. If I say, for example, guides, I'm not sure if I should do this. What do you think? Give me some guidance on if I should do this event or if I should travel to this place. I really am torn. I don't know what to do. Give me some guidance. And then I'll kind of leave it. And then I'll just be going throughout the day and it'll just drop in and I'll go, oh, I should or I shouldn't do it. Or, maybe another opportunity or a different choice may come up. But it's still very hard for me, Christi, but I find it's when I'm not trying so much, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. That makes a lot of sense.
When I just let it go. I put it out to the universe, to my guides, to my angels. I put it out there and then I leave it alone. And I know that I'm going to get it in the way that they know I will receive it.
Yeah. And a lot of people ask me, why do some people have these encounters and some people don't? Right. And I think it's because we need to let go of any expectation. So somebody might be asking a question, to themselves, should I do this thing? Should I not do this thing? And then they ask God, they put it out into the universe, and they wait an hour, and then they say, oh, well, I'm not getting an answer, so my guides are not paying attention to me.
Yeah.
Where they're not actually paying attention to, and they're not giving it time.
Yeah. I totally agree. What made you come up? I know you have the Encounters with Real Angels podcast. What brought about the book? What made you? I have the book. I'm about a quarter of the way through it. I'm fascinated. I love this kind of stuff. So what brought about the book? Hold your book up so everybody. It's phenomenal. It really is. I'm not just plugging it. It's really interesting. What brought about the book? Was it the podcast? How did that happen?
Quite frankly, the podcast. So it was, okay, so I started the Radiate Wellness podcast, I think in 2018. And so that was going on for a couple of years. And then in the pandemic, during the COVID pandemic, about, I think 2021, my guide started tapping me on the shoulder and saying, Christi, do another podcast. What? No. They said, no. They said, okay, fine, whatever. And then a couple of days later, Christi, do another podcast. Like, why? What about? They said, about us. People need to know that we're around. And I said, wait a minute. I did a whole series on YouTube. This was several years ago. I did a series on YouTube called 52 Weeks of Angel Connection. 52 Weeks of Angel Connection.
Wow.
Every week for a year. And because my guides told me I had to figure out YouTube. They said, you have to figure out YouTube by doing it. Yeah, learn it by doing it. So every week for a year, I featured a different archangel or ascended master. I talked about them. I channeled them. I gave their history and what they help us with. And so I said, I did this whole series. Isn't that good enough? They said, no, baby. You got to like talk to people about their guides and angels. People need to know that we're around them. I said, but I've got a full slate already. There's so many things. This is so hard. Time. And I said, okay, well, how would I do this even? Because I don't have time. And they said, they reminded me of Jim Harold's podcast. Do you know Jim Harold?
No.
He's a podcaster. He's got the Paranormal Podcast, the Paranormal Report, and Jim Harold's Campfire. So Jim Harold's Campfire is a story where people like submit their campfire stories, spooky stories, ghost stories, demon stories, things you tell around the campfire.
Okay.
And they said, if you make it like this, it'll take some of the work off of you. Where it's like you don't have to tell all the stories. People provide those. So that's what I did. And come to find out that it wasn't just like everybody was beating my door down to tell me their stories. It took a little bit more work than I thought to, get people to tell their stories. So
right.
Like, guys, come on. And so I supplemented and augmented with some stories from the news, which also a couple of those stories made it into the book. Some stories didn't, but like the Cokeville miracle that happened in 1985, the Joplin butterfly people after the tornado of 2011, that's in the book as well. So I supplemented with some stories from the news and just some information about archangels and ascended masters, which is also in the book.
Yeah, that's I love that. I think people are going to really enjoy that.
Really?
Before I let you go, I want you to tell us a story. One of your, I know they're all your babies and all the stories mean a lot to you. But leave us with a story, one of your favorites. We won't say the favorite. One of the favorites from your Real Life Angel Encounters book.
Well, let me pick a shorter one.
Okay. Or even one from your memory that, what's one that kind of just.
Okay. I know which one I'm going to tell, but first I'm going to circle back to the book really, really quick.
Okay.
Part of Jim Harold's Campfire podcast is that he puts out these books periodically, the best of the best stories from the campfire. So when
Okay.
I had put the podcast to bed after 40 episodes, my producers came to me a couple of years later and they said, Christi, this Real Life Angel Encounters, even though there's not any new episodes coming out, it's still getting new listeners. What would you think about bringing it back? And I thought, oh my God, that is so much work. But I thought, well, I'm going to take a page from Jim Harold's playbook and I'm going to make a book. The book will promote the podcast, promote the book, and that will help promote the podcast when it comes back. So I brought it back and I split time between Radiate Wellness and Real Life Angel Encounters. So every other week, I've got a different podcast coming out. So there's that. That's the book. And anyway.
And
so,
before your story, where can people listen to Real Life Angel Encounters and your other podcast, Radiate Wellness?
Both podcasts are on the mindbodyspirit.fm network. So you can go to mindbodyspirit.fm and listen to them there. But we're also on all the platforms. I'm sure you are as well.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Apple Music or Amazon Music, YouTube. I mean, it's like all wherever you listen to podcasts. Really, wherever. Okay. Yeah. Cool. And available at Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Goodreads, bookshop.org. Yeah. All kinds of places.
Okay.
Yeah. Ebook and physical copy of the book. All right. Yeah. Now a story from Real Life Angel Encounters. This is from the first season and from the book. The story of Angela, who is a friend of mine, a fellow mom. Our kids went to the same school. And her sister Melissa died several years ago of a tragic and accidental overdose. And of course, the whole family was devastated, and she really wanted to hear from her sister. And she's hearing all these stories. You know, we when we lose someone, we want to know that there's life after death. And so she started seeking out all kinds of different stories of loved ones who would communicate afterwards. She said, "Damn it, Melissa, why won't you give me a sign?" And she saw some show about the afterlife, and there was a medium on it who suggested if you want to get a sign from your loved one, tell them something specific. Tell them a specific sign that you want to listen, that you want to receive.
Yes.
So Angela said, okay, I want to see a bluebird. Now, Angela's in Kansas City like we are, and her partner lives in Parsons. And so it's kind of a long distance situation. And we don't have bluebirds around here. So she knew that was specific and not something that, you know, everybody would see.
Right.
And luckily she had an open enough mind, right? Because that's very helpful.
Oh, yes.
And yes. So she wanted to see a bluebird, and it was wintertime too. So even if there was a bluebird around, probably not in winter and not in Kansas.
Right.
So she's making this trip out to see her wife, and she was listening to a CD a friend had sent her. You know, who listens to CDs anymore? And this was just a couple of years ago. So, you know, she just happened to have this CD, and it was her favorite artist, Howard Jones. And it was a live concert that was recorded. So it was live at something. She's listening to the CD, and she listens to this song. And one of the lines in the song said, "Just like the bluebird, I'm free."
Wow.
She knew that was her sign. Another line in the song says, "I dropped my phone down the loo," which is bathroom. Toilet. Actually, loo is toilet. And that's what happened with Melissa when she passed. She passed in the restroom, in the bathroom.
Wow.
So she knew that Melissa was telling her what happened. So here's the kicker. I couldn't put the full lyrics, or I couldn't put the lyrics of even a stanza, even a line. I could not put it in the book because of copyright infringement.
Okay.
This is not a Howard Jones song. He covered a David Bowie song.
Oh, wow.
It's not one that would be in Howard Jones's selection.
Right. Gotcha.
He got a CD random that he happened to be singing the song random. and this was her sign. Isn't that
I
amazing?
love it. I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Right?
Spirit, what I have found over the years, I tell people all the time, I am fascinated by the way they can give us signs in ways that we can't even imagine, ways we can't even think up. I'm truly blown away by the way Spirit, if they want to come through, if they want to communicate and give us signs, I'm amazed at the ways that they do it. I'm totally amazed.
And you know why there's a feather on the cover of Real Life Angel Encounters?
No.
Because my dad started sending me feathers. Why feathers? I don't know. I do not associate that with him. But about, I don't know, 2-3 weeks after he passed, I was on the phone with my stepmom and my sister. I was driving to my office and we were talking about how much we missed dad. And I get to my office, park my car, open the door, and a feather blew in and landed on my lap. And I knew it was a sign.
Wow.
Feather he sent me. It was maybe a week or two later. I was at my office and I was leaving. I opened my car door and there was a feather on my car seat. You cannot make this up.
No, you can't. You can't. Wow.
Since
Wow.
then, I've started collecting all of the ones that I find. And before anybody says anything, before my dad passed, I rarely, if ever, found feathers directly in my path, much less on my lap. But since then, I find them everywhere. And I've started
Wow.
collecting them. I've got a cork board over my
Uh-huh.
got it full of feathers stuck in. I've got a vase behind me full of feathers. I've got
Oh,
full of feathers. I've got another cork board at home full of feathers.
I love it. I love it. I always tell people they want to communicate that, with us as much as we want to communicate with them. They just have to do it in a different way. They're not in a physical body. And so they've just got to find another way to do it. But I believe they're always around wanting us to know whether they're loved ones or angels or guides, they're around. I love that. I hope everyone will tune in to the podcast. They'll read the book. I can't thank you enough for coming on. I'm not just kidding. We're going to have a QHHT session. I am, and we're going to come back and talk about the experience. Maybe having someone on, who's actually gone through it. Would help people come out and want to get that. What's the best way for people to reach you, Christi?
Through my website, radiatewellnesscommunity.com. And of course, we're on all of the socials at Radiate Wellness KC on all of the socials. You can reach me that way too. But yeah, the website's probably the easiest way.
All right. Well, thank you. Any parting words before you go? I appreciate you do a lot. I love the QHHT. I love the real life angel encounters. Anything you want to say before we leave?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I've been waiting for this invitation for a long time.
I just started the podcast, Christi. Come on. You didn't know it took a bit. I love it. Oh, that's hilarious.
So first of all, I'm so super, super excited to be here. You truly are the most gifted medium in Kansas City.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And then also, if there's anything else to leave people with, it's that we are surrounded at all times with loved ones, with angels, with guides. They are talking to us. They want us to recognize that they're talking to us. They are in touch with us all the time. We just need to open our hearts, open our minds, and receive it.
Yeah, beautifully said. Thank you. And everyone, don't forget to check out Spirit Speaker KC on my YouTube channel, Spotify. Thank you for joining us today, and I'll see you next time.